Guys podcast. Tonight we're talking about the film Howl, starring I'm sorry guys, but Ed Spielos? I'm not good at names here.
Close
Holly
enough.
Weston, Holly Weston, Shauna McDonald, and Elliot Cowman, and directed by Paul Hyatt. This is Jordan, and we have Ed and Eric here. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hello, hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Great that it's like almost 60 degrees in December. I don't know about you guys, but this is great.
Well,
It,
less holiday spirit to go around, I guess, right?
yeah, it's a little rainy, a little cold, but I saw a cop pull some guy over earlier, like 5 minutes ago. It was all in my windows, and then I go to look out, and the guy's fucking sideways. Like it's not really cold, it's only a little rainy, and some car spun out. And so I was just thinking, man, I really wish I was drunk right now.
The bigger part is like when it's colder out, I'm more encouraged to stay inside and not do anything. But because it's not cold out, or at least not here, and maybe a little windy, I'm more inclined to go out and do more things, or at least not to feel like I have the excuse to stay at home and not do anything.
Well, yeah, that's what happened
Yeah.
last year, because last year I didn't leave my house for almost a month. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was
Well,
10 degrees out.
That's just because you're a hobbit.
Well, Hobbit, I'm 6'1". What are you talking about?
Well, you're the world's tallest hobbit, but
No, remember now. My wife is. My wife's 5 foot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I always get you two mixed up. You look so much alike.
Really? How was that? Really?
That's how for the longest
I don't-
time people thought Chewbacca was just a really, really tall Ewok, and it's just like it's like no, you gotta look into it a little more. He's a Wookiee. They're from different planets, different systems.
Jordan Solo.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you guys, of course, before we talk about the movie, can I geek out for a second? Because I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me or not. But I saw the coolest thing ever today. The trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I'm excited for this.
Oh, my God. Is this another Michael Bay movie?
Well, he's just producing it. He's not doing anything with it. But we got Rocksteady and Bebop in it, and it looks awesome.
All right. Well, no more Tonka Razor then. Is that what you're saying?
What was
The original or Bebop and Rocksteady from Secret of the Ooze. I don't know why they didn't use them originally. I think they wanted to be. I don't know what the whole premise of it was, but
Because Michael Bay couldn't find a way to fuck them or blow them up, which is what he does with everybody in his movies.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, I am like one of the few people that's a big fan of the original. Well, not the original, but the remake. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool because think of the title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, come on. I don't want a Christopher Nolan Turtles here. I want
Oh, my
something fun.
God.
That's great.
No,
It's
cartoony,
fun.
animated. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's some people like they go into a movie and they expect so much more. Like they have this high expectation. It's just like, guys, it's what do you think this was? Like, just go in there, and just have a good time. Like, don't go in there with high expectations. It's hard to, I guess, with nostalgia, something like that. But I can.
I mean, come on, because I think we can all probably agree that nothing's going to beat that very first Turtles movie.
Well,
But this,
yeah.
but
I
this
was-
sequel looks great.
I have not seen the trailer yet. I was more excited because I saw the trailer for Steven Spielberg's The BFG.
I've
And-
heard of that. Yeah, I've not seen the trailer. Is that awesome?
I mean, it's just a teaser trailer, so it doesn't give you a whole much. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Roald Dahl, all of his books, and I saw the cartoon of it. But any acid type of cartoon that was made in the late '80s and '70s really doesn't count anymore.
Sure.
Just because they were just influenced on some sort of substance. But I enjoyed the story very much. It's one of my favorite Roald Dahl stories. Aside from like Matilda or something, and so we'll see. I'm pumped. We'll see how she goes. Because in the book, like there's the big friendly giant, and then there's a whole bunch of like 8 or 12 other mean giants, and they like kill and eat people. So
Ooh.
we'll see how it does for a Disney movie.
Didn't they make Matilda into a play this last year, a couple years ago?
It toured in London, UK. They made it a musical. They made a lot of musicals. I've seen a lot of those. Addams Family musical, RoboCop the musical.
Yes, yeah.
Did they
Evil-
have Spider-Man?
They
yeah, they
did.
had Spider-Man.
Evil
Oh my
Dead,
God.
the musical, was fantastic. I recommend.
I heard that
Have
it's
you-
good.
Well, have you guys seen that they brought back Ash vs. the Evil Dead on TV?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good series to get into.
Uh,
One of the few that I am actually watching.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm watching American Horror Story like it's my job.
It's the trend though, right? There's that little piece of original, and then they make it into a remake, and then maybe they'll remake it again, and then they'll make it into a play, and it keeps on going, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
The circle of remakes. So it's the circle of remakes instead of the circle of life.
A circle of something.
Well,
that's fun.
Well, before we talk about the plot, about the movie that we're reviewing tonight, I gotta just tell everybody, the fans are listening to this, and you guys, I stumbled upon this. I was watching Unfriended, so if anybody gets a chance to check out my review on that, I was reviewing that, and I just found this on IMDb, so I had to check it out because of the summary. The plot summary was werewolf stalking a train. I mean, come on, that's just a great idea. In my opinion.
Well, can I just say, now we're going to get into this a little bit, and I did a little bit of research, okay? Not that I'm that well researched, just a little bit of IMDb. The two people who wrote this movie wrote a whole bunch of Thomas the Train movies, or shorts. And that's sort of what it felt like. Like they were drunk or high and got pissed off at their boss, and they said, what if Thomas the Train got attacked by fucking werewolf zombies? Let's write that movie.
I did not know that part. Was that like in the trivia and
no, you just IMDb the writers, and it's nothing but Thomas the Train and kids movies.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Well, you gotta start somewhere, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, how about this? When we get into the plot, and we'll talk about this. So, okay, here's my plot summary I got for it. Joe, a train ticket collector, that's what they call it, is having a really bad day when another ticket collector decides to call off sick on the red-eye train leaving from London. Joe secretly is in love with Ellen, the train's food cart girl. On the way, though, to another destination in the no communication zone, which I never knew there was such a thing, especially in this year. And
right.
on a foggy night in the middle of the woods, the train hits a deer. However, something else in the woods is stalking them, a pack of wild werewolves. That's my plot. So,
by the way, did anybody else notice that what was his name? Joe
the main
was
guy?
also was Aragon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Aragon.
Oh, I had not seen nor read the books of Aragon. That was in the whole. What was out around that time? That was like, it was almost like kind of picking up on the trend of some Dragon Rider type thing.
Yeah, it was like, oh my goodness, it was a kids movie, How to Train Your Dragon, and then it was Aragon was out, and God, there was another one.
No, I feel like I'm missing it, but you understand there was a trend. It seems to be like production companies usually go with the trend or what's hot. So vampires seem to be very trendy one year, and then the other one. But no, I mean, whether it was a good movie or not, he looked familiar enough, and the acting aside was not like the highlight of the movie. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. If I'm going to get into it real quick, I guess, about every of the actors, I think the casting was okay. The situation wasn't anything that was, I guess, something that you haven't already heard of before. But with these scary movies nowadays, like, you either go, I think, with a few different routes. You go like the suspenseful thriller part, where it's like a ghost bump in the night, gonna scare you in the back of your mind. Is it there? Who is it? Or it's gonna be like the whole jump out and gotcha thing. But now there's this part where it's just violence and gore, and maybe just kind of an exaggeration of something. I think this was it. I had fun with it. It was a movie that wasn't trying to be serious. At least I hope it wasn't, but trying to break new ground or anything. But no, it's fun.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think they're real stereotypical characters. I didn't find anything, out of the ordinary of any of his characters. Like Joe was sort of the anti-hero, kinda. He wasn't supposed to be there today, and he just sort of stumbled upon the woman that he obviously has had a thing for. He asked her out on a date. She said no. One thing that I noticed, though, is that at the very beginning, it felt like a video game.
Really? How's that?
Yeah, like when you're, all of a sudden he goes to sleep, and then all of a sudden he jolts awake, and it feels like the beginning of kind of sort of a video game, like maybe not Resident Evil, but something along those lines to where it's calm, easy going, and then all of a sudden, bam, and then he's got to walk towards the door. He's got to open the door. He's got to find his key. He's got to, you know what I mean? And then but obviously before that, they introduce all the characters, like that fat guy who's got to go take a piss, and that random old lady who's pissed off that her dog barked at Joe. You know, I just think it was stereotypical kinds of characters up until that point, and then it felt like a video game to me.
Hey, before that, though, I have a question, though, and maybe I missed it. I don't know, because this is a big question I had in my notes. What the fuck happened to the dog?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was
a good question.
In fact, I had asked that question, and spoilers to everybody else. I'm sorry, this is actually not even a spoiler. Sorry that a dog that was introduced in the first 10 minutes of the movie just happens to be absent. And you could make up whatever you want, and maybe ran out the door, or maybe, I don't know. But I actually had thought about it, questioning, like, was that a different old woman? Like, was that like the same one who was, you know what I mean?
That's a good question. I don't know if she just disappeared, or like the dog couldn't work anymore because he had his union labor hours up or something. I don't know.
But, you know what? The answer would be to that, actually, is probably because she got off at another stop, because they had made mention briefly, all very briefly, that they had already done a few stops.
But please correct me if I'm wrong, though. I don't think we meet any other characters but the main people that we get when they hit the deer, though. Am I wrong? Because
I don't think you meet them. You're walking through. I mean, I'm trying to think. There was a couple of people. Now that I'm sort of, Eric, you brought up that point that maybe they just said hi and here's my ticket, here's this, and then they just let them go. Like it was maybe they stopped off a couple times, and they do say once again, spoiler alert, once that fat guy gets out of the bathroom, randomly taking the longest 4-hour long piss, has no idea what's going on. And he's mad that he missed his stop. So they do talk about they stopped a couple other times.
Yeah, they do. Oh, and also, since you guys are saying spoiler alerts, so the fans know, we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. So, I mean,
there we go.
Everybody knows.
We're taking the gloves off right there now, so now I know.
We're spoiling the shit out of it.
Not to dance around it now.
Look, I will say this. I was bored in the first half because I love this idea. One of my favorite movies of all time is American Werewolf in London. And I just really like werewolf movies that are good. I have not personally seen, now I know this is not a good opinion because a lot of people probably don't agree with me. My favorite werewolf movie in the past couple of years has been Dog Soldiers. I haven't seen a great werewolf movie in a long time. So
I haven't seen that movie, so I can't chime in on that.
Which the director of this was a part of. So I mean, like I was just really excited to see a good werewolf movie. And I didn't care about the characters. I wanted to see werewolves do their shit. Like that's what I was excited for. So that's why I guess I missed the dog, or when they said that they missed other stops, because really I was just gung ho about these werewolves. However, though, no communication zone, that did piss me off because I don't get that. Is that a thing? I don't know. This is in London.
I think on your point about being bored. Like it wasn't until the 25th minute of the movie that they, after they've stopped and they see that we see as the audience that the train conductor has been eaten by something. We don't know what yet, but it takes them 25 minutes to decide that they want to walk to the next station. And I can't remember his name. Somebody's going to call him Aragon. And against his wishes, he's this gung ho about all these rules, and then it's like you remember that Geico commercial where there's, if you're in a horror movie, you make bad decisions. If you want to save 15% on insurance, that's what that felt like when they let's just leave the train and go out there because something bad's about to happen to us. And then all of a sudden, they see the train conductor and he's eaten, and they run back. It was almost like it was boring, and then it was forced up to that point. In my opinion,
I'll disagree. The situation was kind of put into them, in where it's a train. They said it's a red eye, so it's a late trip. I would imagine that they kind of give premise to everyone on that train. Obviously, had like priorities where they were just itching to get somewhere, and so to be stuck on the train, inconvenienced, and say, "Hey, it's going to take 4 hours," and then for that guy to estimate, "Oh, it's got to be like a 5-mile walk. Can you get to the 5 miles in under 4 hours?" type thing. I mean, yeah, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's only a little bit of a stretch, at least in my opinion. There have been other movies where we know where it's just been like, well, I guess we'll just everyone stay up here and only I will go into the basement by myself. You guys all have like flashlights and cell phones. I'll just take this one book of matches and we'll see what happens, type thing. But I see what you're saying. But I think given in the plot, the build up already where the situation was, they were really left with not too many options. Either I think personally that if I like to put myself into the situation in the movies. I'm sure a lot of the viewers, our listeners do as well. You watch a movie, you try to say, oh, okay, let me put myself in that role right there, and that's why you would say like, oh, well, where'd the hell did the dog go? Oh, what happened here? My thing is, why wouldn't you like be more worried about the train conductor? Like at first, like, oh, he's gone. Like, oh, all right, well, I guess we'll just walk. And it's like, no, fucking go out there and like find him, or hey, I don't know, something like that. Okay. There could have been more options.
Okay. Well, here's my gripe too. Tell me if I'm wrong, because again, I always say that, Ed, you know that, and Eric, this is our first show here, but tell me if I'm wrong on this, because I always like to think about this. The guy who knows everything about trains, the random guy at the end of the movie who fixes it, right?
Yeah.
When they found out that the conductor was missing before they went to go walk to the next station, they didn't know there was werewolves out there yet. They didn't know any danger. Why wouldn't the guy who knows how to fix the train try to fix the train at that point?
It's a valid point. I think he's probably because if you remember when he talks about how he went to that interview, he said he didn't get the job because he was underqualified. So he's probably a little down on himself. Like this interview happened hours ago, so he's depressed, that he didn't get this job. So he's like, well, these guys know what they're doing. He probably didn't even think about it in that context. Like, I need to step up now because he's so depressed, upset.
Well, I mean, but Eric, to go on your point though, it's like if you want to put yourself into the movie, okay, fine. Now, of course, we all can sit here and say that we're going to think logically, but if you put yourself into a situation, nobody really does.
Right.
But I mean, still though, if I'm the guy who knows this shit, they even hinted at it before they left to go walk to another station. The guy even said, well, this does this, this does this. The train conductor's gone. You don't establish fear that he's gone. Hey, I know how to fix shit. I'm just saying, guy with the hand here, like, I don't know why they didn't. Why didn't they try to do that?
Yeah, easy to pick apart a movie. I think it's easier to in situation. I guess if you're doing a movie, me with no movie experience, by the way, to any future or directors or anything that we maybe pick apart that are listening. But it's more that I think that when you displace a character, there's a little bit more alert or kind of warning or caution that comes with it, where if it's in an environment or situation, it's pretty much kind of out of your control. Not often are you going to find somebody that says, hey, let's move a train, or somebody who's not even employed by the company to say, hey, you know what, I know that everything looks fucked up. First thing, I'm just going to start to take over, commandeer the train, and just kind of ride us into safety. But no, I think that's just in my book, it's rules. It's characters first, and then environment. But it all depends on what it is, plot building and things like that. I just think, and you had all the different character roles in there too. You had all the ages, all the attitudes. Everyone seemed to be kind of relating to a certain demographic that may or may not be watching the movie, including the werewolves with families.
Well, yes, which we'll get to talk about with the families, with the werewolves. But Eric, you're right, because this is a very stereotypical slasher film. You had the bitch, you had the virgin, you had the jock, kind of an attitude. I did like the rich. I don't know if he's rich, but I liked the asshole in this because he actually made logical sense, which in a stereotypical horror flick or a slasher flick, the assholes always have the right frame of mind. I mean, he was out for himself.
And
I liked his character.
The problem I had with that character, though, was that they forced tension between him and Joe, which when we get into the closing of the movie, we'll talk about later how me personally, I dislike that. But, because he's a playboy, kind of, sort of, and he's talking about the survival of the fittest. This is me. I'm going to survive. If you want help, if you want to help me to survive, I'm going to survive whether you like it or not. I'm the alpha male. I just need you to take control is sort of what he was explaining, I think. I didn't like the tension they built between him and Joe for some random reason.
Well, yeah, because with him and Joe, I mean, didn't see really any reason for them to fight, really, until later in the end. But they were fighting right off the bat. Even before the woman got bit, they were having some sort of tension. Which, okay, fine, yeah, go ahead, Eric, go ahead.
This is a fun game. No, we can do this. I see what you're saying. I think those minor details that I caught, and then obviously this is just through the impressions of a different person watching it, where it started little bit by little bit. It was very small and trivial first, where it was the cart, I think it was, right? Where you could tell that Joe, the main character, is kind of, what's the word, peacocking a bit more, and wants to impress the love interest, Ellen, a little bit. But the guy was just kind of like, I don't worry about it. I fucking got this. And, he's just, establishing alpha male roles. And then it kind of slowly went into more progressively, where it was the keys and who's monitoring the doors and its decision making. Where's these people? Kind of went into that. But you're very right, because the dude who's the conflicting male could have easily just been like, you know what? This is all a waste of my time. I think I'll just go. He could have actually just walked by himself and not invited the entire crew to come with him.
Yeah, he could have.
You know, and that seemed to make like more in his character to do. But again, sake of keep things moving, keep things interesting.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
I was going to say, like it was up to that point, everything just sort of felt like they were, in my opinion. Now, I don't think this is the director's fault. I'm going to blame it on the writing. Because I think the director did what he could with what was given to him, but I think that they just sort of they tried to force the character development and the story to the way past beyond its natural state. Like Eric, your point when he said, when he could have gone for himself, the rich guy, I don't remember his name, but he could have gone for himself. I'm going, take it or leave it. This is what I have to do. But he urged them all to come with him for whatever reason, which feels like it should have been out of character for what little character development there would have been, which is, again, why I feel it was forced in the writing. I think the director, up to this point at least, where we're talking, has done a great job. Just the writing, I don't think, was there.
Well, here's the thing with the director, too, is that knowing the director's background, from what I've pinpointed from IMDb so far, the guy was the special effects makeup for The Descent, Doomsday, some very big Hollywood scary movies. And I think later in the film, which we'll get into very quickly here, when the gore and the horror aspect comes into play, that's when I think the director is just having loads of fun. But right now, I feel that Paul Hyatt, I think, is I think he's just waiting. He's like to me, the director right now at this moment, before the old woman gets bit, which we'll talk about next. He's just like a kid in a candy store, just waiting to get into this gore, because the gore is so good in this.
The slow roll, right, where you got to stick to the code that you learned in school, where you have to build, do a little bit of foreshadowing here, establish the rules of where you're at, who's doing what rules are doing what. Yeah, kind of a typical horror fashion kind of setup, pretty much, right?
Yeah, and on that point, like after they leave the train and then they come back after they sort of discover something's after them, like just to that point, rebuilding and going, along the textbook lines of how to write a horror movie. Like that old man's, for lack of a better term, like his Wid One for the Gipper speech, where he talks about, do you want to die? Something's going to happen. We need to now come together and save ourselves, because otherwise, these guys they're going to hunt, because that's what they do. They don't quite know exactly what it is up to this point, but they're making a pretty safe assumption, which I think is actually pretty smart of that character, where he says, listen, we need to get together and we need to save our lives.
A voice of reason you don't often hear in this type of movie, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so they find the train conductor. I think he was like ripped in half or something. I couldn't really tell. So they run back to the train. They hear howling, and everybody gets onto the train, but then Joe sees the old man and the old woman lagging behind, of course, stereotypically, and she's the last one to get in the train, and she gets her leg bit. And this is now where I see the director starting to get momentum. This is where I feel I'm starting to get momentum. I liked her bite. It looked great. The effect worked really well for me. I liked that on her. It was great.
I agree with that. I think the makeup was and the special effects were pretty decent. You know, like he lifted up and then slammed to the ground, and lifted up and slammed to the ground a couple times.
Very Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I agree wholeheartedly. The reason why I love this movie so much, or not love, but enjoyed it so much and got such fun out of it, was because of the violence and the gore and just those action scenes. They were a lot of fun. I would sometimes just go, "Whoa!" You just get one of those reactions. But everything was just detailed, and it really stood out. It was almost like it's extra character. It was its own. It was just wonderful. Even the costume effects for the monsters, the werewolves, just I thought it was great. Great touch, by the way, to have so much darkness and just have their eyes just very wolf-like, just glint, just flick, and you just see like that reflection kind of bounce off off their eyes, and you can just kind of see that. Not always glowing, by the way, but just ever so slightly, so you know that it's stalking. It was a wonderful touch.
Yeah, we'll see
to build on that, Jordan, if I might, just to build on that, I really like the idea that, like, I felt that this was, now later on I'll change this, but I feel like it was, they blended like the infected zombies idea, not the there's no more room in hell, but the infection with the werewolves.
Yeah.
You know, like you can
Well, what do you
slowly
mean?
you can slowly start to see, number one, when what's her name? I can't remember her name. I have the worst time with
But the
names
old
in
woman?
damn movies.
But the old woman?
When she's starting to turn, you can see it, but when they start to show the other zombies later, or werewolves later on, and as that woman's starting to turn, it just feels like it's an infection / zombie mixed with the werewolf concept. I think that was a great idea. I think it worked very well.
Isn't that the werewolf lore, though?
Yeah, it is. It is completely. Yeah, you get bit by a werewolf, but usually those take into effect, like, it's not as immediate. But I think there was, and this is another part in the movie that I did appreciate. But again, kind of typical movie kind of rules, I guess, where you just kind of get one or two lines of sentence to explain the situation. And the minority in the movie, Matthew is his name, as I'm looking up on the cast list here, who is the Indian or Saudi, it doesn't matter. But he had made mention just after they had, I think, killed their one of the wolves, or had knocked him out, or wherever it was, or maybe look at a dead body. He was just like, well, isn't it obvious it's a werewolf, but it might be something more, almost like I think there was just that what if part, and in explaining that, you can kind of see that it's not completely werewolf as much as it's like modern day next kind of monster mutant werewolf type thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I would agree with that.
I called a little bit of that into question, which I'll come into a little bit later, but it just sort of felt like they were telling you, we get that there are werewolves there, but you shouldn't, audience. That's just how it felt to me, though. Like they were saying that we understand that there's a possibility of lore here, but we're going to make our own. We're going to develop our own story, which I with so much lore being around werewolves, I didn't like that concept. I liked the makeup idea and how it worked, but I didn't like how they try to develop it in that way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the old woman did turn really quickly, but I guess one could argue because it was already a full moon, but that really wasn't established. I mean, really, all they showed was the camera panning up to a full moon, and that was it. So, I mean, like, how much lore are they actually staying true? What I did like, though, with the old woman, before we go to other things, what I liked was the sound design, because when they wrap the wound up, then there's blood everywhere, right? And then they pull back the gauze, and you hear, like, that
peeling.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, God. Like, it was great. It was great. Yeah. I liked that.
I liked her transformation as well. I thought that it was a pretty good transformation of it, too. It wasn't trying to be the typical werewolf. It was just kind of being slow and just kind of, I don't know, Michael Jackson Thriller-esque. Just kind of going into, but like it slowly went into, and even I make reference to the eyes in this movie because towards the end part of her transformation, it gave her dark points and it highlighted that eyes, so you can kind of tell that it was slowly just kicking in more and more. So little details like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So okay, and so so now the shit's starting to hit the fan. She's turning. However, though, the girl that I liked, the bitchy girl on the phone, gets it next from a window. I was so disappointed.
That slut.
Oh.
Well, but I think they needed another kill, which you could see it coming when she was backing up and her phone started working, and they had like, who's that? You need to tell her where we're at, or it was her mom or something, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You could see it coming, but they needed another one that sort of caught you like that. Like they did just grab her, and that, again, Eric, going along the lines of like, this is by the textbook horror film in that way. That extra kill that right there, I think, that was a good one.
Wasn't even mad.
But she wasn't
even mad.
You're right. But she was hot.
Yeah, but oh my god, that. I mean, if there is like a scale of bitches that were in movies, this one, she is just a rotten bitch. Like Joe, the guard or whatever. It's just they're his job, man. Yeah, like is your first time on a train? Of course he's gonna ask for your ticket. Like,
yeah,
it's
like yeah, what the fuck?
What'd you think?
Oh my god, he's staring at my tits. Or whatever she said.
You're wearing a scarf, lady. No one's staring at your tits. Like, you got those wrapped up, okay? I wish you take it off and maybe, say it a little bit louder. Give me the reason.
Well, the good thing is, later in the movie, which we're jumping ahead for this scene real quick, but later on, we see her being just devoured. Just her intestines are out in the trees and shit.
And that kill does develop the story, because because right then and there, what's his name? Matt grabs that blonde woman. I can't remember her name, but he grabs her, and then she gets mad because she's trying to save that girl. But then they have that conversation later on with the woman who's transforming into the werewolf and her. Where she said, she asks her name, and I found this very unique. She's like, I don't even know her name. Why am I so upset? I don't know why I'm upset.
True. Yeah.
And Matt's the one who's sorry for everything, because they don't ever have another conversation.
Yeah. True. Well, okay, so pretty much nothing is really happening. So she gets killed. They start boarding it up. And also, I'm sorry, guys, but this reminded me when they started boarding up the train, the way it looked like the buses from Dawn of the Dead remake.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was trying to find the name of it.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you guys have played like zombies from Call of Duty, there was one map where you had to ride on a bus. Yeah, very. Yeah.
I do remember that.
But it's take the parts you have, which. It appears that nothing's bolted down on the train, and
no, appears not. Yeah, because so while all this is going on,
he had power tools.
There's a fat guy taking a shit. Right? Is he pissing or shit? I think he's shitting.
Well, he pisses at first, and then something happens. Like, oh, I need to go take a shit, mate. And he goes up and he picks the one that says out of order. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah.
I
did.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves on that one, but yeah, when the werewolf comes to get him, of course that door's not going to fucking work. It said out of order.
How'd you get in? If you can't open it, how'd you get in?
That's a good question. That's what she said.
That's a good one, yeah. It's the better part of it is that it's the first time, shame on one, or first time you do it, shame on it, but the second time, shame on you.
Yeah.
And there's a second time where he's just like, well, I best go into this bathroom again.
Yeah, might as well.
Well, it's his own stupid fault for eating train chicken salad sandwich.
Yeah, let's assume that it's the only bathroom on the train then. Let's
assume that. Because, so then the werewolf comes from the ceiling and attacks him and kills him. Now we get to see the werewolf. Now here's my question before we talk about what we like about the werewolf or what we don't like. Has this whole movie been the whole time just this one werewolf? Or has it been multiple right now?
Well, they're trying to imply the one, I think.
Yeah.
Is it just the one right now?
Yeah, in fact, that because we assume right now that it's one, or at least I had assumed now that it is one, what I thought was a good job, going back to the beginning, the opening scenes of character introduction, is that there were a few, when shit started to get going, there was a few moments where I was doing the whodunit, like playing guessing. Hey, wait a second, where'd that fat guy go? Hey, wait a second, that old lady with the dog. Hey, wait a second, the dog. Like, just, keep on going from there. And it's just so I was doing a little bit of a whodunit beforehand, and just kind of maybe thinking that part of it. So that part was a little bit fun too, where it's just like there is that guessing, like what is going on? I'm now like who, what's going on? Give me the facts. Give me the times. Like let's try to piece this together.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Question for you guys: would this movie have been better or worse? Doesn't if this was not a werewolf movie and it turned out to be a whodunit?
Oh, I think that would have been terrible. Just to be frank, because it has to be something supernatural for a movie like this. Because like the build up for it is there's this mist and this fog, and then all of a sudden like Joe wakes back up, and then things are starting to happen, and then there's this howling. And then the conductor, or what they call it, the train driver or something, where he's just gone. For it to be like a whodunit, like a Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with a monkey wrench or something, I don't think that would have worked at all.
No, it wouldn't have worked for you. What about you, Eric? Do you think it would have worked?
I like the monster movie aspect of this. I think because of it, you kind of just sat back a little bit more and just said, all right, well, because it's a monster movie, that means a few rules don't apply anymore. And you can just kind of throw maybe some reasonable kind of explanation or logic maybe out the window, not out the window, but let it bend or slide a little bit more, and just kind of go along with it. Enjoy the elements of the movie that you already know what's going to be, or maybe you don't. And there's a few parts where again twisted, where you're just like, oh well, that's something new. Oh, okay, they're doing that now. Okay, let's just you're able to just I don't know. Lower your guard a little bit when you know that it's a monster movie, rather than it being like a serial killer. Other movies I think have did a poor job of that. Like for instance, that one. Oh, what was that one with Liv Tyler where the people were wearing like the bunny masks and they were just kind of going around in just murdering people just because they could type thing. That's the serial killer aspect right there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So before I get my opinion, what are your guys' feelings on the way the werewolves look? What do you think about this?
I mean, I enjoyed it for what their appearance was. They weren't trying to, big hulking. You know what I mean? I like a little bit more of kind of like the I guess scavenger wolf. I guess we'll call it that, rather than it being just kind of like a tank or a bear wolf type thing. But this one had a few elements of both, where like the jaw and the teeth were not really canine, but those were fun. Like those a lot of monster. But like the claws said werewolf, the kind of the legs said werewolf, and so it was a different. I enjoyed it. It wasn't going with the cliche part of it. It was just going like, yeah, it's a werewolf, but like a monster werewolf.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree with that. I agree with that to some extent. I mean, I like the idea, like I had mentioned earlier, where they did like the zombie meets like the zombie infection. I guess zombie is the wrong word, but like the idea where there's an infection and that that turns them into a werewolf. I liked how they conceptualized that. I think my biggest problem with the way they looked was at the end when they looked like they were Avatar. When they had like the war paint on, and I mean maybe it was just my version of the movie that I saw, but it looked like they were trying to be like Avatar, Native American / zombie werewolf.
Did you get the James Cameron version of this movie? Did I watch the wrong one?
Well, maybe it was just the version that I saw, but there was like a red war paint stripe across one of their faces. Hair was almost.
I thought it was just dirt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought it was just dirt and grime or something.
It could be.
Thought.
It could be, and I could be blowing smoke out of my ass, but this is how it looked for me when I was looking at it.
Yeah. Well, okay. For me, there's always... I don't know how to say this, because now I'm getting into nostalgia. But to me, the perfect werewolf is American Werewolf in London. So I guess I was looking for that. I guess. My initial reaction was, oh man, really? They look like this? Okay, so it's like half... To me, it was like Man, Bear, Pig. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because the lower half was werewolf, The arms were werewolf. The chest was man. The face was man, but the mouth was werewolfy. Or I guess that's a word.
You're
So,
super ethereal right now.
Super serial. So I just super serial. No, it's just so my initial reaction was, oh, okay, but then as the movie progressed, I started to dig it because what I like what this director did was he took the genre. Okay, and I will say this before I continue. I like when directors take the stereotypical genre and flip it. He didn't make the werewolves so American Werewolf in London, which is what I expected. So then I took a step back and I was like, okay, yay, you know what, this is good. But my shock at the initial part was like, oh, okay, so it's this. This is interesting. You know, that's what my take was on. But I like the fact that they could barely kill the thing. I mean, what they had an axe and a fire extinguisher.
Oh,
Yeah.
I fucking hated that part. Listen, when they killed that zombie, when Matt killed the zombie the first time, and he's going to town on it, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yep, well, I think that's a werewolf," and all of a sudden it comes back, and Joe goes to town on it a second time. That was unnecessary to me because he went at his face with an axe.
It was
perfectly
unnecessary. Like. That's why I just like, yeah, exactly. Just another part just to get some violence out of there. It was great. And then the after shot too. Loved it.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, is that what happens to the axe? That's a good weapon against a werewolf. Like
Matt took it out into the woods when he was chasing down that fucking skank on her cell phone.
For no reason. For no reason.
Yeah, like that was seriously bad. He goes off into the fucking woods when we skipped a part where Engineer Boy comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, I can totally fix this leak here that's been leaking for 4 hours at this point now. By the way, I can fix this gas leak. It's only a pressure issue. We haven't run out of gas yet." And so he goes under there to fix it. And Matt brings the axe and the one flashlight, and Engineer Boy doesn't need the flashlight underneath there until all of a sudden he just randomly needs it. But that by then Matt's gone off to find this howling in the woods, chasing after it, and it turns out to be cell phone skank on the top of a tree getting eaten by now multiple werewolves.
Which is ridiculous because, and Eric, I know you have a lot of opinions about this problem, but what's it's like why? Like, if I was the guy with the axe helping the guy fix the train, I hear howling, and I know there's a werewolf out. Why would I leave? Why? I would leave him and go into the train.
No, that's
fuck you.
I agree with that part. I usually like to pick apart and do everything else, but no, I agree with you on that one. Just like you everything's already been established. You've seen one already. Like, you know the threat. And so when you keep on kind of hearing it more, I guess the only thing that, I mean, you could just think, oh, I only assumed that there was one. No, that's still silly. But but I don't even think she heard the cries of help or whatever until, like, after he was already, like, pretty deep in the woods, right? Again, it's one of those things you just kind of throw it away and enjoy the movie, everybody. Like, it's like, I have all these props. I got so much more blood. Guys, we got like 5 extra gallons. Matthew, can he just maybe walk in there or something like that? We gotta get some blood going.
And this is the same time that Matt makes that decision to go into the woods at the exact same time that they decide to introduce that blonde woman, the one, the lady at the end, where she says, "Oh, by the way, I interviewed at the company you run a couple of years ago, and we banged, and and then do you remember me?"
Different characters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, yes, right. That lady at the end survived, but it was that what's her name, the other blonde chick, and they're talking, and that's where she's talking with the Playboy, and it's like, "Do you remember me?" And you had a tan line where your wedding ring should be, and he had already previously said, "Listen, I've got a flat in the city. I've got a house with the family. This is why I can survive. I'm the alpha male." And now it all of a sudden becomes a bad thing. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not saying good or bad, but they change now that he's a bad guy. He's no longer trying to be the alpha male and survive. He's trying to be the bad guy.
Which I will say with you on this, Ed. I agree with you because this whole movie is supposed to be about strangers on a train, if you know what I'm saying, and to have her fuck the Playboy and a few years ago or whatever, it's just stupid. It's just not a very good reason to have this in here at all. What's so wrong with them being strangers on a train? Why do we have to have this conflict?
It helps character development, so it gives her sympathy, and then him more. You feel more resentment towards him because, like, oh, this guy's actually a dirtbag. Oh, I could give a shit less, or I'm against him now, pretty much as the viewer.
Yeah,
but why
right.
develop that? Why develop that? You've already got this camaraderie, in my opinion, for us as a viewership, and with those people on the train. You want them to survive. You want them to get through it. But now, all of a sudden, you introduce a second villain, because you've got the werewolf, which we find out later is a pack, at the same time, and then you introduce a secondary bad guy, secondary person to dislike. And that's where it lost it for me, to be quite frank, is where they're trying to. There's almost like a fork in the road, and they want you to take both paths.
Don't hate the character development on that part. I think that more so you are able to establish that. I mentioned before that it was started off slow, where you're just kind of just little parts. You're just like, all right, bad opinion to that guy. All right, kind of like that guy. All right, he's kind of a dick. All right, this guy's kind of a douche. All right, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like, and it keeps on just going up and up and up, pretty much like to this part. And I think the reason why you get to that part is because now you're at a level. I'll use the movie Cube, for example, if you guys have ever seen the Cube trilogy at all. Because it had the same exact character where it keeps on going up and up. Now you have this part where this character who was once kind of like an annoyance is now a huge fucking prick. Now he has this realm of possibility. Now he is villain possibility. And now he can start doing things that are in this realm.
But I'll ask you why develop that in this movie? I never saw the Cube movie, so I don't get the reference, and that's my fault. But in this particular movie, like, this is obviously a singular film, unless they later on decide to randomly make a second, which happens quite frequently in these kinds of movies. But like, this is a singular storyline. It's strangers on a train, which that earlier speech by that old man, he's like, we're strangers on a train. We're either going to survive together or die alone. Now you're creating a second storyline.
Yeah.
Which then as we get into the end, creates an end that I don't quite like myself, but we'll talk about that later.
Man versus man, or the human versus human element. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand that, and I just want to. I guess I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing for this. No.
It's valid.
I don't like the fact that they added a second storyline. Because I wanted to band with these characters on this train. And as soon as they tried to have somebody else to go against besides these werewolves, that's when it lost it for me. It became too complex and for its own good. Where I think the writers realized what they were doing. They were making a B movie, and they tried to change it, and it just became even worse.
Okay, I'll roll with you on this then. How about instead of, I understand what the argument is. So how about instead of developing this conflict, these character conflicts with each other, you could spend less time doing that. Already established the roles, by the way, that this guy is kind of villainous or the hated group, the whatever, we don't care about him guy. Instead of that, you could have something that would explain a little bit more of the origin of what you're fighting. Maybe an extra element of that part. Maybe like noticing something. Maybe more encounters, more taunting, more hunting. You could add a little bit more of that into it. But it also could have just been for filler. Like,
I agree with that. I think that if they would have done that, or had they, because there was a key point there that I think they missed, where when later on, again, spoiler alert, where he dies in the end, although I disagree with the way things happened, and we'll get there, obviously, but I would have liked for that point to have made that character the guy that you were excited to see die. Because maybe he's kind of a prick, he's a playboy, whatever, you dislike that type of person as a film goer, but like, I think had they gone in that direction, maybe gave you some filler, maybe found out how things developed, which they tried to do. They did. There's a later speech where all of a sudden the old guy remembers the same thing happening, and some of them were eaten by animals, and some of them were never found again. Mm-hmm. But where they try to give you a little bit of an origin, but I think they did it too little too late, And they should have gone in the direction with that particular character where he was the one that we wanted to see die, and when he finally did, it was epic. Which I don't think we got any of that.
How did he die? His name was Adrian, by the way, everyone, as I'm looking into it. How did he die again? They went into the woods to escape, and he went off on his own because he thought he could do his own thing, and then they just cornered him, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he's the final kill. Now, we'll get there, but
go ahead.
Yeah. Do we want to get there now, or do we want to wait?
We want to save that. Okay. So, guys, here's another big question. You guys are this guy. What's his name? Adrian, the Playboy.
Yes.
Would you, when the train is moving and they're fixing shit, the werewolves are attacking, and the girl is reaching out, the girl that you had sex with 2 years ago and just said fuck it, would you kick her out of the train like he did? Because that was a dick move, but that was also a good character point, a character point for that guy, because that guy right there established himself as the complete asshole. Would you kick her out of the train?
What was the situation again? Was she at the door and she was being pulled, right? Was one of the werewolves?
Yeah. She was being pulled, and she was reaching out with looked like a monkey wrench or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, and he went to grab the wrench, and he was like, "Fuck it," and he like ninja kicks her in the chest, and she falls out.
Yeah, he had already established that he would do that. He had said, about the old people, survival of the fittest. If it's you or me that's going to survive, I'm going to do what I can to make it me. You give them something to eat. Yeah, and that's what he did.
Because here's the thing. I didn't like the fact how she died. Because what I don't like in a lot
Does she really die, though? Because they kick her out of the train, and then she sees it going off, and she's crying.
No body, no death.
Yeah. No body, no death. She probably got bit and turned. That's what they probably did. Maybe, maybe not. I'm going with the fact that I think she died. I don't like, my biggest gripe with horror movies, especially nowadays, is that she gets kicked out of the train. The camera lures on her. We know she's going to die. Did we need to see this quote-unquote death scene? Because she stands up, she turns around, there's a werewolf behind her, and she's begging for her life, and the werewolf kills her. But
the werewolves have personality. The werewolves in this movie have personality, as we see when that older woman starts to turn. She focuses on her husband.
That's bullshit, and I'll talk about that later.
I agree with you, but they're showing the fact that there's personality. And, and on that point, when she finally does turn, and the husband now all of a sudden doesn't quite comprehend his previous speech, which was survive, we're all going to band together and survive, and he lets her bite him.
Yeah.
He lets it happen.
Yeah.
Well,
he might have been
not in a sacrificial lamb kind of way, not in a way trying to get other people out of the way. He's just like, I don't understand. I've changed my mind. I don't know what I'm talking about, and then he gets bit.
Maybe, I don't know. I think they're trying to go for that is that because it's his wife of however many years, instead of it being a fight or flight situation, he froze. And it was just like, fucked up. And then...
Yeah, but then why give him that speech? Why would he be the guy that bands everybody together if at the end he doesn't hold true to his own principles?
Because he's an old man and he's losing it. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think I have a good gripe. Everybody's seen the movie The Thing, right? John Carpenter's Thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
They missed an opportunity here. When they tied the Playboy next to the old lady, I really thought they were going to do a Thing moment where she changes right there and he's tied up, and that's how he got it. That's how he should have gone. That's my opinion, because he was all about killing her, and every time they showed him tied up next to her, I kept on thinking of The Thing. And I was waiting for them to do it, and they didn't do it. Which I think it was a missed opportunity.
That would have been too easy, and it would have changed the ending of the movie.
It would have changed in the movie, but then they also have missed opportunities too, where they copy things, or maybe I'm just nitpicking or being stupid here. But when the old guy randomly says, this happened back in 1962, it's like Robert Shaw's character from Jaws. Mm-hmm. That's what it reminded me of. The U.S. Indianapolis story. Like that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It was
part.
Lifeless
it
doll
made no sense. It made no sense to me. Okay, so what my biggest gripe about the movie is, the ending is a huge gripe. That's my biggest one, so I'm sorry. But my...
Really?
Oh, yeah. That is a huge gripe for me. But the second gripe for me is the old woman who changes. That actress is, and I'm sorry, is terrible.
Oh.
She and I know the fans don't know because they listen, but we video record this. Guys, she does this for 2 minutes.
Yeah, very show the teeth, just kind of grimacing a little bit more, right?
She doesn't attack. I'm okay. If I wrote the flick, as soon as she turned, I would have gone to the next person. Not even think about it. You don't have a personality. You are a beast. You are a wolf. You are just surviving off of instinct. Go to the next person you see. Don't sit there and go,
Oh, you're talking about like the Ed Wood monster where it's just like hands next to your face and you slowly just creep. Slowly, I'm gonna get you. You better do something right now. Maybe find that thing that's just out of reach. Maybe I'll get there. I'm still coming though. Cut. You know,
it's not good. Not good.
Cut frame here, cut frame here, cut frame here. Still creeping.
But again, though. But again, and I am not. Movie. I'm not trying to say the director. I'm best way to say this. I think the director wanted to make a gory werewolf movie, and there's this scenes in it that just are so freaking good. Like, just the gore aspect. Like, come on, guys. Like, we already established it. When we talked about when the werewolf broke through the goddamn bathroom, and then they were beating it to the pulp.
That part was awesome.
Everywhere. It was great. When all the werewolves are on the train, and it's just like, oh, they're trying to escape, and it's edge of your seat. But when the old woman turns, it's just Nosferatu, German expressionism thing, and it's just... It took me out of it. It took me out of it at that point.
Which, adding to that, I think that's why, and I think the two of you, Eric and Jordan, will agree, why we wanted to talk to the director, which later on in this episode we'll do. Yeah. But, I think that, I agree with that. I mean, like, the director wanted to do something pretty good. And I think with what he had given to him, I think he did a great job. I mean, I think that, the gore was there, the special effects were there, the cinematography was there. Like, and I was just, going back to the research now. He was the director of cinematography on Crank, the cinematographer on this movie. But he'd also worked on V for Vendetta. He worked on The Mummy. He worked on The World Is Not Enough. He worked on Braveheart. Like, you could see that there was decent shots and, like, the concept of what they were trying to show. I think that was all there. I'm going to go back to this point. There was no writing. The writing was awful. And I think the director got what he could out of the actors, but, outside of Aragon, nobody's ever done anything. Or Aragorn. I keep saying Aragon like Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But, nobody's ever done anything previous or since. That's my bullshit rant.
I agree with you on the cinematography. I thought it was very well shot. A lot of the angles on the train kind of were wide enough to capture a lot of things that were going on. A lot of outside shots were angled enough so you could see the distance of the train. The fog was very well done too, so you could kind of slowly see the figures coming out. Like I said, the eyes and just certain details I picked up on. I enjoyed it very much. I really did. You could call this a paycheck movie if you wanted to, but at the same time, I just call it a monster movie. Like,
that's what it is.
It is what it is. I didn't have too many gripes about the movie. I really enjoyed it for what it was. I was curious, however, though, that the main werewolf was wearing a wedding ring that we didn't talk about yet. And
we did,
So he was wearing a wedding ring, which, by the way, fit perfectly on his giant werewolf fucking hand. So that was my one
which it always
there.
It always does.
It's like Hulk's pants. It just one size fits all. I didn't know that. Maybe he just starts throwing out. Yeah. But it was because after you saw that and you're just like I had thought and thought, oh, okay, well, this was once a dude. So that was why they were establishing that, is that it's not just some creature that was created in a lab. He's wearing a wedding ring, so that must have been a human at one point. Established.
Yeah.
Got it. And then they introduced multiple werewolves, and you could clearly see the way that the physiques are is that there is a full-grown woman. I know what boobs look like on every animal. And she's a female werewolf. And then
on werewolves, are they called teats?
Yeah, good call. Were-teats, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
Were-teats,
two smaller ones, which you could imply then are the children type. So that there's a family of werewolves, and obviously they are Catholic and respect the I guess the laws of marriage. But that was the only thing about that. But that probably was just one of those things where you can leave it open to what explanation you want. Maybe this was a family that was just exposed to whatever. These things are just details. You don't need explanation because it's kind of pointless. Just like how you'd say with Adrian and a lot of his building is a little pointless. We get the message. This guy's a dick. We don't need any more than that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's just like, they're the family. Overall, though, I enjoyed the movie. It's...
Yeah. All right, so the end. Okay, so my gripe is two things in this gripe. We get, for no reason, a battle when he fights the werewolf, which is fine, we get the battle. But at the very, very end, what's the guy's name again? Joe?
Joe.
The female werewolf decides to go, you know what? You put up a good battle. You stabbed me a few times. I'm going to bite you, and you're going to be a werewolf. That's my first gripe. Second gripe is, it's daytime.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
So, what are we establishing here? I mean, is it daytime? Is it dusk? I will get the fact if it's becoming daytime and they're deep in the woods and the trees are covering everything. I get that. But I'm under the impression werewolves only happen when there's a full moon and it's daytime when this fight happens.
Maybe they're not werewolves?
Maybe they're not.
We don't know.
But the movie's called Howl. The movie's called Howl.
Yeah, that's this whole concept at the end is just, I kept waiting, again, there's another misstep here in the writing. I think it's obviously turning daylight. We can see it, and you can still hear it. It's like, okay, I get it. The sun's not quite out. They're going to have one final battle. There's going to be a couple things thrown. Maybe somebody's going to get scratched or something. But then when I saw it, in my mind just went to, okay, well, Joe got bit, but he got bit at the exact same time the sun was coming out, so he's not a werewolf. Like, that's where my mind went. That's what I thought they were trying to develop.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, it's just, like, now the sun's out. And there's still these fucking werewolves. And then going on to the end where it's like noon at this point, the sun's in full bore, and the Playboy's walking through the woods and says, hey, Joe, buddy, he sees his clothes, and he's like, hey, Joe, and all of a sudden, now that these two people hate each other, you've got this werewolf family at fucking full noon with Joe, and then Joe just attacks, and then that was it. That's the final kill.
Yeah. No, it made no sense. I mean, Eric, what'd you think? What do you think, Eric?
At that part, it was getting. I think they were stretching it, as far as the timeline goes, because at the same time, at that train, they said 4 hours for support to come and get them, and 4 hours ends up being we can assume 8, or
sure.
I mean, because it was. Oh, you know what? No, hold on. Forgive me my time here, because around that time that the train came down. It was supposed to be 1:30 or 2 o'clock. So 4 hours would be 6 o'clock. So I guess it really wouldn't matter then. Well, I just talked my way out of that one, didn't I? But so figure then, around that part then to be dusk, morning. It's 6, 8 o'clock where the sun is coming up and there's still action going on. So I don't know. The only one thing that I could think is that maybe that these are different wolves that just have their own set of rules, but again, it's because it's not explained. You are able to kind of. That's the bend. I agree with you completely because I got the impression it's a werewolf movie, and so automatically going into it, okay, I know the rules of the werewolf. Silver objects, and then daylight, and then obviously the scratch mark. Zombie rules apply to that part as well. certain things, wear them off, and I understand that. So yeah, I'm in the same boat with you guys that I would like an answer.
Yeah, because in my opinion, great, which I'm not saying this isn't fun or good, because I think this is a fun, good monster movie, but great werewolf movies establish some sort of new rules, if there are any new rules.
No matter how lame they are, American Werewolf in Paris, where they said, "Oh, well, you could reverse the fact if you eat the heart of the werewolf that transformed you."
or of course, American Werewolf in Paris when you inject yourself. But
yeah.
my favorite, one of my favorite werewolf movies of all time is The Howling, where they establish rules that you can change at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many rules in werewolf movies that what kind of werewolf are we getting? Now, I think the director is saying, fuck the rules, because these werewolves are not your traditional-looking werewolves, but I would like to at least get something like that established. Because that ending battle, it's like the female werewolf, which we didn't know existed until coming up to this scene, is battling against him. He stabs her a few times, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to bite you so you become a werewolf. It's like, why? Are you showing that you're tough? Is that how they recruit? Why would you do that?
Maybe she had been eating all night, so maybe she's just full.
And well, because he finally gets himself a little bit of nookie. He finally, because he asks that, what's her name? I don't remember her name. But
Ellen.
Ellen. Yeah, he asks her at the beginning of the movie. She says no. And then it's the two of them. That's it. Like, they're running away. They're the sole survivors that we know of at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and of course, textbook, they make out, and you run, and I'll stay and fight them. And, and I kept waiting for the heroics of it. And, yeah, he stabbed her a couple times, but, it wasn't – it was like they were toying with him, which – I didn't like that. I mean, it was one of those, like, he should have put up either A, a more epic battle, or B, it should have just been like, it's over with real quick. And I think they flubbed on all of that.
They could have done it in different ways. If you guys were putting in the sunlight logic, they could have had that to where, like, in the middle of maybe some delaying, Joe does get a break and gets lucky, and these wolves in middle of battle end up, like, reverting back to human form. That could be something too.
Yeah.
Or they are afraid of the sun, they just go away, or there could have been a few other things that happened.
There could have been. Because at the end, when we I'm sorry guys. Ellie?
Joe, Ellen, Kate, Adrian,
Ellen,
Matthew, Billy.
Ellen,
Okay.
Ellen. Okay. Ellen. There was no need for Ellen to go back to the train station, all bloodied up. Nobody cared.
That was the goal.
Nobody paid attention. It made no sense. Just let her run with her arms frolicking like this for no reason.
There's my gripe. There's my gripe. Everyone was her retreat into the woods.
That was terrible. It was bad.
She just gave up. She's like,
It was bad. It was bad. We don't need to see her at the train station. Just cut that just put that on the cutting room floor. We don't need her going to this train station. The movie would have been great for me if did she get out or did she did not. I mean, like, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
Did I need to get the Playboy kill by Joe? No. Just have Joe get killed, have a Howl, end of movie. That would have been better for me.
The fast stick 'em, that Joe gets it to him. Yeah, he's a werewolf now. Nobody cares. He's the one that ends it. This asshole spree that Adrian's been going on for a while. You get what's coming to you, and Adrian got what was coming to him.
But that's where they fuck up, though. That's where they fuck up, because this whole movie, I'm afraid of werewolves.
Yeah.
And Joe becomes a werewolf. I'm like, you get him, Joe!
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be afraid of this. I'm scared. I'm supposed to be afraid. But I'm like, no, Joe, you get him. Stick it to him.
Speaking of being afraid, the way that Ellen just kind of walks onto the platform, everyone's just like, oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, nobody notices the bruised and battered woman, covered in blood.
It's almost just like, hey, oh, there she is. Hey, werewolves, huh? They
Hey,
happened this
what are we
one
gonna do?
time. It happened back in '62. I don't know if you had. Someone told you about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, somebody told her not to go make a sandwich for her husband, and she got all pissed off.
Hey, this is London. They don't talk like that in
Yeah,
London
right.
now. I'm just saying.
Bloody hell! She forgot to make tea and crumpets for her old man.
All right.
It was enjoyable.
No, yeah. All right, fans. So we're gonna go into our rating system. So for all of us here, we're gonna get into it here. We have a different rating system, and please, guys, help me out with it. But if this movie's incredibly freaking awesome, we're gonna say go see it. See it. This is a good movie. If we think it's pretty decent, then it's a watch it. If it's okay movie, stream it, and if it's just terrible, don't bother. But each host is going to be able to give the review for 1 minute or less, just them talking about the review and their overall review. So, Ed, would you like to go first, or Eric? Maybe let's go first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. Number one, Eric, you don't know this about me, but I love the lore of film. Jordan knows this because him and I have been doing reviews together for years. Whether it be, creating a new genre or anything, like, there are established lines for me, whether it's zombie movies, monster movies, werewolf movies. There's known things about these kinds of things. The fact that they tried to mingle them together for me, I started to like it until they completely went the exact opposite direction. It was a werewolf movie that they turned them into zombies, in my opinion, and that's what I disliked about it. I think it was well directed, from the sense that, like, we could see it coming. We knew what was coming, but the story just wasn't there. And the story was underwritten. There were forks in the road that should have been taken. That they tried to take both paths instead of just the one. And I think the acting was awful. Jordan, did you just barf? That totally sounded like you just barfed.
What?
I just heard. Yeah, I heard. Anyway, that's how I feel about the movie. I think the direction was decent. The writing was awful. The acting was awful, and the cinematography, I think, is what absolutely saved it. On top with the gore. I'll be honest. I found myself scrolling through my phone or looking other things up while I was watching this movie. Unless you're an absolute lover of all things horror, I'd say don't bother.
Don't bother.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Eric. What is going to be your review for Howl?
All right. Well, with Howl, in an age where we're living in right now, where movies have become ever so popular and just taking adaptations of classic stories, this being a werewolf one that we've heard so many different times over and over again, so many different views of it, so many different kind of turns and twists of it. I liked that in this movie, instead of it trying to recreate the genre itself or kind of redefine the movie or the monster itself of a werewolf, instead of you going over descriptive, it said, you know what, we don't need to answer all these questions. We just need to know the basis. This is what it is, this is the terror, this is how we're going to get out of it type thing. In that part, I don't think the acting wasn't the strongest. I understand that, but it didn't need to be. Very stereotypical parts of just, play your roles, Very, anyone in a college theater class could do that. It's not anything that's out of the realm of possibility. I enjoyed that part. Obviously, the highlight of the movie was a lot of the violence and the action. I thought it was fantastic. A lot of actually gaps that maybe in the story that you can just hop over, just be like, yeah, I know, it's a fucking monster movie. Let's just go and have a good time. With all the other movies that are out there, I'd say this is actually a pretty good date movie. Like, if you were just watching with another person and you're just like, yeah, I got nothing else. Especially like around Halloween, because there are so many other horror movies to watch, and the more and more it come out, it seems so washed up or rinse and repeat type thing. This one's actually not too bad. A good date movie. I'd say stream it. It's worth the watch if you have nothing else to do, or if you've already seen everything else in your library twice and over and again. Yeah, if you got time to kill and you want to check out a new monster movie, yeah, stream it for sure. It's a good date movie.
Okay, all right. think this movie did a lot of good things, and I think it did a lot of bad things. Again, I think in my opinion very well know that I think the director was more focused on the gore and the effects of the werewolf, because I think that's what the director really likes to do. The characters weren't strong. Believe it or not, we didn't hit on this that most, but the guy that I cared about the most was the guy who was fixing the train. For some reason, I found him to be intriguing. I don't know why. Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a good guy. I liked him. I don't know why. It kind of sucked that he died, but I enjoyed him. I didn't like the ending at all because it just confused the fuck out of me. And Ed, you know, when I'm confused, I get pissed. So, yeah. But overall, I think it's a decent movie. I think it's something that not everybody needs to see. But I think if you are a werewolf fan, this is a movie you should have to kind of see in your collection. So, I would actually give this a stream it. I think it's a good movie to watch. I don't think it's something I'm going to go back to again and again and again. But I'm glad I seen it. I'm sorry. And I think it's a decent movie to see. So overall, I think it's a stream it then.
It's not campy. It's not campy by any means. You know, it's
not
put together and aside from some gripes that and a lot of people would have in the story. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I think it's unique. You know, I wouldn't. You know, I don't necessarily want to change my view from.
No, hold
from
your opinion,
don't bother.
please.
Yeah, but I think that, like, you do bring us up valid points that if you've seen everything over and over again, now, for me, like, I don't have an old lady who's going to want to watch horror movies like I do. I love watching these things because I love the concepts. But, you know, if you're, speaking of trains, I just heard somebody's honking in the background. I don't know who's that was. Yeah, werewolves.
Yeah, right. But, they're around here.
I think... I think, in all, I think that if there were just one or two more turns as opposed to trying to take both paths, I think there was that cop-out in the writing. Sure. That's going to hold me to I could care less about this movie ever again.
Huh. I mean, you're not missing anything if you scroll past it at Netflix or anything. You know? It's just,
no, exactly. Yeah.
You could easily miss it. No problem. But
I do look forward to hearing what the director has to say about a couple of questions I'm sure we all have, but which we'll save, because we're going to talk to him here shortly. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think that had it taken one fork in the road, like had it been like what The Walking Dead is where The Walking Dead is actually the people around versus the zombies, like had it taken that turn with Adrian being the bad guy, or had they focused on banding together and it being them versus the werewolves, would it have been a better movie, do you think? I mean, I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion on that.
One of those things.
I think
it's weird. If you don't let me, I'll say real quick, is that sometimes in production things happen to where you can change or something dictates a change, whether it be like cost, budget, or actors, or something else like that, time constraints. And so I wonder if that played a part into it. I'd be curious to ask him.
No, yeah, because the thing is that I like to see people versus werewolves. I mean, that's what I came into this to see. That's why I was so excited to see it. Because of that 3-sentence synopsis I found on IMDb. People trapped in a train surrounded by werewolves. I haven't seen that movie before. I think that's a cool fucking idea. Sorry for swearing like that, but I'm passionate about it because I think it's a cool fucking idea. Werewolves surrounding the train and there's nowhere to go. I mean, what would you do? I found that intriguing. So that's why
in a movie like this, it has been done before, and I will say this movie is a lot better than Snakes on a Plane or Snakes on a Train.
I've about had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
But but very much like Snakes on a Plane. It's again where you just have to just ignore fucking everything. The complete setup of how they got there or what's going on.
The thing about Snakes on a Plane versus Werewolves on a Train is that Snakes on a Plane was first. Maybe, you bring up a valid point. Had this idea been first, maybe it would have been better.
Maybe.
But the fact that it's not the first mover in that kind of... That's a really good point. I wonder if that wouldn't have changed, my personal opinion of it.
Well, I think I'm looking it up right now. Actually, I think Snakes on a Train came out before Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go.
I think Snakes on a Train hit DVD before Snakes on a Plane hit theaters. Snakes on a Plane, August 2006. I gotta look this up now that I've already invested into it.
I didn't even know that there was like snakes on a train. I was just talking out of my ass.
Yeah.
What? Well, I guess what is that? What is that internet
came-
rule?
it
It's like
came out
internet rule
3
number like
days. It came out-
41 or
yeah.
something. If it exists, there's porn of it or something like that. What? It's like if it exists, there's a horror movie of it.
It came out 3 days before. Snakes on a Train came out 3 days before Snakes on a Plane. It was
Oh
straight,
my god, I fucking love Hollywood sometimes.
Hey, you guys have seen nothing until you see Titanic 2. Then you love it.
Oh my God.
The ghost one, right? Is that what it is? Oh,
No.
well, this explains it because Snakes on a Train is an asylum picture.
Oh, that's why.
Oh.
God loves. Well, you know, they also did Titanic 2, which is just glorious. It's just glorious.
That's real. That's real.
Oh, no, yet. Google it. It's a real movie. The synopsis.
Oh my God.
The synopsis is, and then after this we'll cut it out, but the synopsis of Titanic 2 is they recreated the Titanic, and they're going to sail on the same exact voyage as the original Titanic.
As you would.
And a glacier falls from an ice. It wasn't a glacier yet, but this piece of ice falls, and a giant tsunami slingshots a glacier to the new Titanic.
Oh my God.
It is.
That sounds.
It is wonderful.
Please tell me that was James Cameron's original concept.
No.
Because
No, it's just one of those what the fuck am I watching movies, man. It just happened, bro.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with Titanic at all.
Fun fact about that movie: the director and the writer is also the star of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
As I'm looking into it,
You're
right now.
tearing me apart, Lisa. Like The Room.
Yes. Yes.
The Room. You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
This is gonna go
Yeah.
on the this is gonna go on the
Yeah.
watch list right now. 1.6 Titanic 2, guy. This is going on the watch list.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes for the win.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
Oh my God.
Fans, we greatly appreciate you guys listening to this first episode, kinda. Getting into everything because we're going to be coming out with the Star Wars review here very soon. We just kind of wanted to give you this as a little teaser.
Get it.
Excited for that, and and then also next week we're going to try to get the director of Howl. Guys, I keep on murdering his name, but is this a Paul Hyatt? Hyett?
That reads about right.
Yeah,
Hyatt?
that's a good guess. I'll go with
Okay.
that.
Well, Paul Hyatt on Twitter said he would love to do an interview with us. So that's something that we would like to. We can't wait to do for an episode. And also, I'm getting a hold of. I don't know if you guys know the show or not. I wanted to save it for the episode. But the girl who plays in iZombie, I'm talking to get an interview as well with.
Look at that.
Cool. Hey
So, I'm trying to
Jordan,
get a hold of her.
just for the record, where can where can everybody find us on Facebook, Twitter?
Yeah. So right now you can find us on Facebook. Just type Movie Guys Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. On Twitter, Movie Guys Pod. It won't let us do Movie Guys Podcast. I guess you have to have short characters. And of course, our website, movieguyspodcast.com, where not only do we do audio reviews, but we also do written reviews as well. You can see reviews of Ant-Man, of Legend, and of Unfriended's on there as well. And also, you guys will be seeing my review of Conjuring, which I've never seen before, which I've heard has been great.
Ooh, fantastic movie. Love ghost movies.
I heard it's great. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow night, and I'm gonna write my review on it.
Make sure you
'cause
turn
I'm
off all the
excited.
lights and get your popcorn and everything.
All I know, Eric, is all I know is the clapping. That's all
Yeah.
I know.
It's great element to that movie. I enjoyed that movie.
That sounds like Jordan in high school. All he knows is the clap.
I
That's
don't
what he
want to.
called me.
I don't want to build up too much hype, but that's probably what my favorite ghost movie in the past maybe 5-10 years. That was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Because I heard it's really, really great, and I heard they're doing a sequel too. So I'm excited.
What the fuck? Why?
I don't know. They're doing it.
Because it probably grossed $100 million over what it cost them, so they're going to do it over again. Just like those fucking Saw movies. Cost them
fine.
$10 grand to make, and they made $100+ million each, so why not make 30?
Yeah, you're right.
So all the fans can listen to us on there. And of course, the biggest way you can check us out is on iTunes. Not only do you have to have an iPhone, but you can have an Android phone as well. You can download the podcast app. You can listen to these episodes as they appear live all the time. Check us on there because that's where the most, podcast experience you can get is from iTunes. And of course, yeah, go ahead,
Jordan. I'd like to add this. Even though we do have a schedule, we'll post that. We'll post a schedule. Every once in a while, kind of like this movie, something will come up to where we'll get contacted by a director or somebody, and they'll ask us to take a look at their movie, and we'll do this, and it'll be impromptu. So please definitely keep in touch with us on Facebook, on Twitter. Subscribe to us on iTunes and everywhere else you can, because you will be, even though we have the schedule, there will be random ones just kind of like this where we decide a day in advance to watch this movie.
Absolutely. And also, when you go to iTunes, you just type Movie Guys Podcast. You'll be able to find us. Our logo, according to my brother, looks like a flaming pizza.
Nice.
So, I'm not very good at logos.
That's a hot pie.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, and iTunes. And thank you so much for listening. And this is Jordan here, and Eric, and Edward. And we'll be back for Star Wars really soon. So have a good night, guys.
Good night.